Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Dontez Lindsay. I am the general manager at Ducks Trading LLC, as well as the lead trainer of StockCraft. Before I go any further, I just want to say I am not a financial advisor, and this is for entertainment purposes only. With that out of the way, I'm going to get into the part 3 of this video. And what we're going to talk about today, I'm going to put a few clips in between the clear intentions video, and it's going to be snippets from my stream. These are going to be live examples / more of what happens in my stream when it comes to this kind of concept. Without further ado, let's just get into the video.
But I've seen IPOs do like some big runs. And so like, yeah, that by itself, since it has no history of like a resistance, and if it forms any kind of support, and then, you know, the ticker is, a low float as well as like a decent sector, which it falls into all those categories. See, it's not even listed on the FinViz right now. So it does have like a lot of bullish tendencies or like bullish factors. Where'd it go? I just don't know where this would go. By the time I recognized it as a buy, it was already up like 70%. And I wouldn't know the appropriate risk management on this. And that's the main thing. Like if you look at my account right now, or like the amount of money in my account right now, the last trade, since I've been trying to do that like only trade 2 times a day thing, I pretty much feel like the last 5-6 trades I made, I would be stubborn with just like a partial part of my rules, and then I would just keep gradually losing money. And so I'm about to size down my position size to like a fifth of what I've been doing. So I've been doing like 15K to like 20K until I like lose control and then do like random 50K trades. I'm going back down to like 5K and below. And like with a normal like long, that's what I try to go with the longs, just because I have less understanding of this. But now I'm just going to do that as like a standard, like 5K and below. And the 5K would be like for the ideal. Main thing is before I go up in position size, I'm trying to either have something that's like really high price, or it's like meant to have like a lot of money because it moves like slower. Outside of that, I'm just trying to build back my discipline. And I think that's going to take at least 2 weeks. And so I'm pretty much going to have to change my relationship with stuff like that in the meantime.
All right, so we'll go back to this screen. The reason I showed you that video was because self-trust. I mentioned a lot of self-trust killers in that video, to where my relationship with my execution of my own plan and system was destroyed, to where there was so much rationalizing, justifying, hesitating, toxic hope, jumping the gun, over position size, everything in between. Like my behavior and attitude was out of control. The thing is, it's all kind of subtle when you're in the process. The main reason I had that was because I didn't have clear intentions. Like my goal was to be an advanced, consistent, profitable trader. And I wanted to make minimum like 200K per year. I even broke down the amount of profit and losses I should take down to like the detail. But when I got into the process, I got lost in the process. And the only reason I got lost in the process is because I didn't fully understand why the behavior was important. The reason you become a consistently profitable day trader after doing like 6 months, 3 months of, very fixed trades is because you're supposed to build up a habit that counteracts your normal temperament and needs. And it gives you a certain level of character and self-trust, as well as other complements to the opposite nature of trading. Is at the end of the day, the market is neutral. It's just mirroring what's inside you. And at one point, my human nature took over, and I didn't even have enough awareness of my own well-being until I got to a point where I took a break. And then once I took a break, I'm like, oh, wait a second. I got trapped, and I didn't even know I was in the trap. Awareness of blinding attitude and behaviors. Root cause is being ambiguous or unclear with the system's variables. And so what I mean by that is, at the end of the day, we set our system. It's all something that you personally have to create from the ground up, like an entrepreneur. When it comes to your attitude and behaviors, you have to understand you yourself as the trader are one of the biggest variables in your trading. And so the more refined you are, the better position you can be to make more money. And so at some point, you're going to have a decent understanding of your beliefs, your needs, and the way you personally express yourself. Now, if you're anything like me, you probably like to be a little animated. You probably like to be social. You probably like to be goofy and express yourself in all kinds of ways. Now, the thing is, that's probably just the surface. There's also going to be stuff based off of your beliefs that are going to subconsciously express itself. And so you're going to have to understand a lot more of yourself than you probably thought that you needed to in the beginning. Now, at the end of the day, I'm just going to tell you a few of these just to give you an idea of what happened to me. Remember in October, I was doing a whole body cleanse, colon, liver, stomach, other organs, and I'm very disciplined. And I made like 5 trades. I win all the trades, making all the money. And I'm like, wow, I just made 20K. I know how to trade now. My attitude got to the point where I became not arrogant, but I became comfortable. I got to the point where I'm like, okay, this behavior I have is not sustainable in the long run. I feel like I'm kind of burning out. I need to take a step back. But when I took a step back, I didn't know exactly where I could take a step back. And so the entire December, I was just doing 60, maybe 70% of the normal discipline I would go for. And so I would keep up some of the behaviors that I just thought were very minimum that you had to do this, like keep learning, have somewhat of a schedule. I don't want to say get fat, but like basically have like a certain consistency in like your diet and like other ways you express yourself. At the end of the day, I didn't understand how toxic I was until I start subconsciously screwing myself or sabotaging myself. Now let me get into the bullet points. Awareness of the blinding attitude. My attitude comes from my behaviors. My behaviors comes from my beliefs. And now I had a very vague idea of what my beliefs were, what my needs are, and then the way I express myself. With that, it gave me a lot of fear. I became very self-conscious, especially while trying to be in a stream. Now, I'm not blaming you guys, but you did do something. But at the same time, there's a lot of people out there that do this, and they found a way to overcome it, and so I can too. So, still my fault. Now, fear. At the end of the day, this is just my negative relationship or connection to the trade. The effects from having that unclear goal, having that unclear like variable, it gave me a lot of FOMO. FOMO to the point where I'm not in a trade and I know it's not ideal, but I'll have all this fear that I should be in that trade. That's FOMO. I would get into a trade. I would leave money on the table by not taking the trade, and it comes all the way back. I don't take the profits systematically, and then it comes all the way back and shakes me out like with a fake out, or just a straight loss that I take a small loss on. There's fear that I'm going to be wrong, and then I'm going to be wrong on camera, and then I don't have any kids or anything, but eventually someone's that I actually care about their opinion, like the people in my chat room, I'm going to be wrong, and then I'm going to be wrong on camera, and then it's going to be stuck there forever. I'm going to become a meme, etc. Frozen trigger finger. That's where you're so wrong, and then you've practiced being wrong so many times that you can't even trust yourself to accurately assess the situation. And you're frozen with fear. It's like, that fight or flight response. Normally I'm a fighter. I'm like, square up real quick. But eventually when I get to the point where like, I think I'm wrong, too wrong, I'm just like, okay, if I don't move, maybe they'll go away. Trading doesn't work that way. Just let's talk from experience right there. And then when it comes to perceptions, at the most basic level, fear is blinding you. You can't actually see reality if you're focused on trying to run away, if you're focused on trying to stop the pain. And that's where I became very self-conscious. And that mostly came from lofty, ambiguous, unclear beliefs, needs, and expressions. And so it was hard to find that work-life balance because everything was very vague. It was all blending together. I'm a very trial and error kind of guy. It could be like my sign or however you want to say that. But at the end of the day, I didn't only have to trust the process. I also had to understand why the process was important in the first place for me to be able to fully trust the process. And now, I got humbled. I trust the process. I have my healthy amount of fear because I know why it's important now. Now that I shared this with you, hopefully you have at least one mistake less than me. But other than that, let's get into the next section of this, which is self-sabotaging. Now, this is the one that really got me because these are subtle mistakes. Now, with this self-sabotaging, this is where you're subconsciously dodging the situation. And so when I say the situation and subconsciously dodging, let me define that real quick. Subconsciously dodging is when you're trying to distract yourself. You're just like, okay, wow, that's scary. That's real scary. Let me just start doing my coping mechanisms where I'm just like, I'm going to be very funny. And like, this is me not accepting reality. Let me put on my really dark glasses because I don't like what's happening right now. Oh, let me just look away. Oh, you can't blame me. I didn't see anything. Like, normal, like black guy in a scary movie kind of stuff. And the thing is, like, I actually feel that way. Now, the situation, sometimes the situation could be a good situation. But if you are already filled with all this kind of fear because you have very vague guidelines, then you're always in this state of fear to where the situation by default becomes negative. And then as soon as the negative situation comes on, you're going to have subconscious actions and behaviors that are going to affect your attitude. Pretty much what happens is the more you're stuck in that like kind of depressive kind of state, that self-conscious state, you're going to reaffirm that toxic behavior through toxic discipline. And when I say toxic discipline, that's pretty much if following 100% of your rules or your strategy, you'll be able to have a long-term success in your goal. But then you do like 70% some days and then 90% other days. You don't know what is the amount that's going to make you fall short of your goal because each day is like a little bit different. The toxic discipline part is not only are you following part of the prescription, like a pill. Let's say your doctor says, okay, take 3 of these and call me in the morning. Let's say you took 1. Well, you go to your doctor and you're just like, doctor, I feel like shit. He's like, what'd you do? He's like, I took 1 of these and I called you. And he's just like, that's not what I told you to do. And then you actually try to do what he says the next time. You take 2. And you're just like, I feel a little bit better, but I still feel a little bit like, dizzy. And he's just like, what'd you do? And he's like, I took 2 of these and I called you. And he's like, well, take 3. Let's say you take 3 and then you still feel like crap. At least now, you did the discipline. And you still feel like crap. So now that actually tells us that you have a different problem. But at the end of the day, you have to do the discipline to understand what is actually happening. Just at the very bare minimum. Now, this one is getting a little bit longer. So let's wrap this up. Another thing when it comes to like subconscious dodging the situation is you can leave the trade at the worst moments. And the moments where your signal is saying the opportunity's here and you can't afford to leave, but you leave anyway. And then you have all the FOMO in the world when you come back. Like you go to that massage appointment, you go answer that phone call, you go make that sandwich, You go to the bathroom when you know you could have afforded to do it. You could afford to do it like 5 minutes ago or 10 minutes ago, but now at this minute, you only get like a 2-minute window or something. And you just decided in these 2 minutes that you want to go do it. You press the wrong button because, you just have no discipline that is not toxic. And so you don't have a good relationship with pressing a button only one time or pressing the right button. Like, let's say you started a multi-day runner and you're about to short it because you see it's in its like 5th day, minimum extension, something like pretty large. It just hit its maximum amount of money. You're seeing some type of momentum shift, or it's been signaled on the RSI and everything in between. And then you go long right at the top. Just because, when you were analyzing it, you were thinking, oh, let me see what the longs are trying to do. And then at the end of the day, you're just like, oh, wow, the longs. Oh, yeah, I'm probably supposed to go long because I'm thinking long. And then, you put in a full position right at the top in the opposite direction. That's called self-sabotage. Now, same thing other than like that, there's flipping positions, oversized positions on setups that call for a fraction of what it's actually worth. Then there's revenge trading, where another subconscious trying to dodge the situation to where, there's fight and there's flight. We already talked about, when you freeze because of all the fear. Well, there's some people like me to where I'm the too soon or too much kind of guy. And so too soon, yeah, we already talked about jumping the gun back with self-trust. But the too much kind of guy is where, I made a mistake. I know I made the mistake and I try to overcompensate. And so the revenge trading, that just says like overcompensating to me, to where, you got your ass kicked. You gotta get your honor back. And like you square up with this ticker and you're just like, oh yeah, I'm not married to you, but like you about to get these hands today. And that's what revenge trading is. Now, when it comes to like the psychology behind revenge trading, obviously you lost. But the point is you lost and then you didn't accept the loss or learn from it positively. You learned from it negatively, and then that got put somewhere deep into your behavior and then affected your attitude. And then your attitude became hostile towards something that it doesn't benefit you to be hostile. That's all I'm going to say about that. So the solution to all these is to define your beliefs, your needs, and your expressions. Each of these have a multi-layered way to affect you. So external and internal, subconscious and conscious. Hopefully that helps you understand a little bit more of what trading is like and how hard it actually is. And now with that, we're going to get into part, what are we at? Like 4, 3, I think 4. And we'll talk about the last one with the awareness of your progress. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.